Hey guys, you are welcome to the YouTube channel, and in today's video I am going to show you how to make this notch collar shirt. Notch collar is different from your regular kind of collar. This precisely here is a notched collar, and I am going to show you in this video how to go about the cutting and the sewing of this notched collar shirt. So if this is something you want to learn, so keep on watching. So guys, the first thing you'd want to do is to mark out the length of your shirt. So for me, the fabric I'll be using for this tutorial is not enough at all, but for the purpose of this tutorial I just have to make use of this fabric. So I'll be going for a short shirt, and the length of my shirt is actually 19 inches, but I added 1 inch to it for sewing allowance. So go ahead and mark out your actual shirt length, then add 1 inch to it for your sewing allowance. You get, so obviously what I'm sewing right now is a short shirt, more of like a crop shirt. You can make yours long, you get. So I'm just doing this because my fabric is not enough. I'm just managing the fabric, that's just it. So the next thing you would want to do is at this side of your pattern paper, you fold it in like this. Fold in 4 inches. Fold in 4 inches. The reason we are folding in this 4 inches is to achieve the notched collar. Yeah. So you fold in 4 inches. So I'm just trying to make sure it's 4 inches here for me. We're using my tape. I'm just trying to make sure it's 4 inches at the beginning of the paper and 4 inches at the end of the paper. Hope you get. So after making sure it's 4 inches that are folded in, the next thing is it's time to draft our basic bodies. Yes. So the first thing is we'll mark out the shoulder measurement. So my shoulder is 14 divided by 2 gives me 7. I added half an inch for sewing allowance, so that's 7.5 there. So the next is the depth of my neckline. For my neckline depth, I'm making use of 2.5 inch. That is 2.5 inch for the neckline depth. And for the width as well, I'm making use of also 2.5 inch. That is 2.5 inch. So let me just use my pencil too, because I feel you can see this marking. So I'm going to use my pencil to make sure it's obvious. So this is it. So I'm going to connect it like so. Connect the neck width to the neck depth like so. So you can see I have formed a circle on my neckline. So the next thing is I'm going to create the shoulder slants. Yes. So in slanting my shoulder, I'm going to use the neck depth, the measurement I use for the neck depth to slant my shoulder. So what I will do is on this neck depth, I'm going to just, draw a straight line like so. You get, so my neck depth is 2.5 inch. So I just have to be sure it's 2.5 inch at the end as well. So you can see the way I drew a straight line. So I will still mark out my shoulder measurement here, which was 7.5. That is 7.5 inch. So what I will do, I will now connect this place to this old shoulder, to the neckline. Yes, to the neckline. Let me just say it like that. So you can see I have created my shoulder slant. You get, so normally for your shoulder slants on a basic sleeve, you just use 1 inch downward. But for this, you are going to use your neck depth for the shoulder slants. Hope that is, you understood that aspect. So the next thing is the armhole. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark my armhole depth. If you're not sure about your armhole depth, I'll drop a link on description box where you can actually go and watch how to get your accurate armhole depth, because it's very important in this drafting. If you get it wrong, you might end up with a very big armhole, which will be very difficult to correct. So the next thing here is we're going to take mark our bust measurements on this place like this, which is referred to as the chest line. Then after marking your bust measurement, you had 2 inches allowance. So you divide your bust measurement by 4, then you had 2 inches allowance to it for sewing allowance and all. So after doing this, the next thing I want to do is, normally your shirt is not fitted. Yes, your shirt is not fitted. So since it's not a fitted shirt, I'm going to still use the same measurement for my bust on the total length you get. Except it's a fitted shirt, then you can follow each measurement and add your 2 inches allowance. But if it's not, use your bust measurement here and add 2 inches allowance as well. So I would connect like so. So you can see I have connected the line. The next thing is I'm just going to create a curve on my armhole like so. I'm just going to create a curve on my armhole like so. So let's just do a quick recap of this whole process. So the first thing first is you mark out your, let me open it. So the first thing first is you mark out your shirt length, and then you had 1 inch for sewing allowance. Then you fold in 4 inches like so. Then the next thing is you mark out your shoulder measurement. Yes. And after marking out your shoulder measurement, the next thing is your neck depth and your neck width, which I used 2.5 for both. Then you connect your circle like this. So you create a straight line like this, using that the ending of your neck depth like so. This is for the shoulder slant. Then you do your shoulder slant like this, which I used a ruler to connect. If you can get a straight line without using a ruler, no problem, you can do that as well. So I used a ruler to create the slant like this from the line I got using the neck depth to the neck. So the next thing is the armhole, which of course you have to be very accurate with it. Any mistake you make with this armhole, I've already told you it's going to be a flop on the armhole side, and it's very, very difficult to correct. It's quite impossible to correct. So the next thing, you take your bust measurement here and you had 2 inches. So I divided my bust by 4 and then I marked it out and then I added 2 inches. So I divided my bust by 4 and I got 9.75, which I marked out and added 2 inches to it. So I connected it like this. Then on this final length, I also use my bust measurement because it's not a fitted shirt. It's a free shirt for me. So I use my bust measurement to add the final length, and I added 2 inches as well, which I later connected like so, as you can see. Then the next thing is on this armhole side, because our armhole is not, a sharp L, it's curved. I drew it curved like this. As you can see, I drew it curved like this. So now we are going to cut this out. So I'm going to go ahead and, cut it out like so. So I'm just going to cut like so. Please watch the way I am cutting it. So guys, this is it, guys. This is it. So I am just going to write this out. This is the front pattern of your shirt. Yes, this is the front pattern of your shirt. So what you would have to do next before cutting out the back pattern is you're going to notch this place. Let me set the camera well. So you're going to notch this place, this 4 inches point, so you would know where your 4 inch started from, where you folded the 4 inch you get. So you're going to notch this point like this at the top and at the neckline side and at this down side. So for your back pattern, you get a new pattern paper like so. You get a new pattern paper, and then the next thing is you'd place your front pattern like this. Now after placing your front pattern like this on the new pattern, you are going to trace out your shoulder slant, your shoulder. Yes, you're going to trace it out. So you trace out your shoulder like this on the back pattern. Then we're going to cut. So we're going to cut like so. So you can see we have gotten our shoulder slant on the back pattern as well. So the next step, you can see the shoulder slant. So the next step is you're going to come down like this on your, with 4-inch, you're going to come down. You're going to drag your front pattern down. You drag your front pattern down and make sure the distance between the back pattern, the beginning of the back pattern and the beginning of the front pattern is 4 inches. Then you fold in the back pattern like so. We are trying to achieve the neckline of the back. So you fold it in like so, making sure it's overlap the front pattern shoulder with only half an inch, because you use half an inch for your sewing here. So you fold it like so. I hope you understand. You fold it like so. Then I'm just trying to make sure it's half an inch here for the lapping. Then I'll take my pencil and trace out the neckline using the front neckline. So you can see it's aligned. So make sure it's aligned. Then you cut like so. Please watch the way I'm cutting it. So make sure it aligns, please, and you cut exactly like so. So this is it, guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the other parts exactly the way the front pattern is. So I'm just going to put something here so it doesn't shift or move. Then I go ahead with my cutting. So this is me cutting out the back pattern. So I've already achieved my neckline for the back. Please watch the way I am cutting it. Just watch. You can see the way I also cut this part. Yeah, so this is it, guys. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. So our back pattern is almost ready. So I'm just going to write back pattern so you would understand. So to make your back pattern totally ready, we have to, correct this pointy neckline here. So to avoid your pattern, your fabric having a pointy neckline at the center back, you're just going to cut like this, more of like we are creating a circle kind of. So you can see it's no longer that pointy the way it was before. So now you have a perfect neckline for your back pattern. So your back pattern is fully ready. So I'm going to cut out the back pattern first because like I told you before, I am managing this fabric. So I'm just going to cut out the back pattern first. So I'm just going to arrange my fabric. This fabric is a crepe, a very light crepe, and it's stretchy. It's very, very stretchy. So I'm just going to place my back pattern like so. So if you can see at this point, I haven't corrected the neckline for the back pattern. So I later did on my fabric. So that was what I showed you before. You have to correct the neckline so that it will not be pointy when you cut it out. You get, so that the center back will not be pointy when you cut it. So you just do exactly the way I showed you earlier on. So because the fabric is stretchy, I had to pin down the pattern to the fabric. I just had to hold it down so it don't start, moving left and right and in the process, okago, the and in the process the cutting will not be accurate. You understand? So I want a perfect cutting. You get? So I just had to pin it down. I don't want them say kind of thing. So this is me cutting. So the next thing is the front pattern. So for your front fabric, you're going to fold in 4 inches like this on your center front. You're going to fold in 4 inches like so. Then make sure it's 4 inches. Measure just the way you folded 4 inches on your pattern paper. And so you still fold 4 inches on your fabric. On your fabric. So you're going to place your pattern paper, your front pattern paper like this, like so. And you're going to pin it down as well. Then, you go ahead and cut. So it's very easy, guys. It's very, very easy, very simple. Yeah, you can do it. So I didn't get to add any half an inch while cutting because it's not necessary, because I've already done, the 2 inches allowance on the pattern paper. So there's no need of, adding half an inch anywhere. You get? Because I've already added don't mind my tongue go, because I've already added allowance when I was drafting, yes, on the pattern paper. So there was no need of adding half an inch at this side or at that side or at every side. You get. Hope you get. If you get, tell me. Don't mind me. So guys, I am done with the cutting. So I'm just going to remove the pin. Just going to remove the pin now. So you can see the cutting. So you're going to also notch here the same way you also notched on your pattern paper, on your front pattern paper. You're still going to notch like that. So guys, this is it. So you make sure you open up this center place to separate the, it's a button down now. You have to separate that place. You understand? The center. I don't know if you understand me, but I know you do. If you don't, just drop your question on the comment section and I will explain better. So the next thing is we're going to join the shoulders now. So we're going to join the shoulders now. So you can see we join the shoulders here and we'll also join the shoulders here. You can see where I was explaining to you that you should, open this. You can see what I was trying to say. Open the center and separate the two parts. So you're going to close up the shoulders like so. You're going to close up your shoulders like so. So I want sorry. So I am done closing up my shoulders. As you can see, I have closed up the shoulder like so. So the next thing is you see this points where we notched our 4 inch, where our 4 inches begin. Yes, this point, as you can see, we're going to flip it to the right side. So you're going to flip it to the right side. Let me be serious. You flip it to the right side, then you sew to 1.5 inch, that is half an inch. You see this place you notched, you're going to flip it to the right side. You're going to flip your 4 inches to the right side, and then you will sew to 1.5 inch. You can notch that 1.5 inch to understand better. You get? Or you can use your chalk to mark where you're going to stop your sewing. You get? So I just notched mine to know where I will stop sewing. So you flip your 4 inches to the right side, and then you sew at the top, at the neckline. You sew and stop at 1.5 inch. You can stop at 1 inch depending on how wide you want this place of your notch collar to be. I'll go ahead and sew mine now. So as you can see, I have sewn this part. You can see mine stop at 1.5 inch. So you can see I have sewn mine as well. Stopped at 1 point. So next thing is I'm going to measure from this side round to the side. So from the side where the sewing stopped, I am going to measure to the other side where the sewing stopped. You get, so I'm going to measure and see what I got. So I got 17 inches. As you can see, let's remeasure again from this point where your sewing stopped on your neckline to the other point where the sewing stopped. So I got 17 inches. So I am going to use that 17 inches to cut out my collar. So I'm going to get a piece of the fabric and fold like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark 17 inches. So I'll be adding 1 inch to the 17 inches for sewing allowance, so making it 18 inches. So for the width of the collar, my collar, it's going to be 2.5 inch for the width, 2.5 inch. So I'll be adding half an inch for sewing allowance. So in total, I am marking 3 inches here. So I'm marking it 3 inches. So 2.5 inches wide. So I added half an inch for sewing allowance. So 3 inches, making it 3 inches. So I'm just being sure, the fabric is very, very stretchy. So I'm just being sure it's actually 3 inches I marked out. So next, I'm just going to use my pin to hold it down so it doesn't shift, like I earlier, said before, so it doesn't shift because of how stretchy it is. So I'll go ahead and just cut like so. So this is it. So you can see it's 3 inches wide and it's 18 inches long because I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. And you can see it's 3 inches wide. So after doing that, the next thing is I'm going to put my paper stay. I'm going to iron my paper stay to it. So for the paper stay, I'm going to mark out 18 inches. So the paper stay is going to be on one side of the fabric. So because of that, I'm just going to cut out 3 inches wide. It's going to be 3 inches wide because it's going to be on one side of the fabric. So I'm just marking out 3 inches like so. So you already know my collar is 17 inches, but I added 1 inch to it for sewing allowance as I'm cutting. You understand now? So I'll go ahead and cut this paper stay. So you can actually use your lightest gum stay as well. You can use your paper stay. You can also use your air stay, whichever you want to use. So I'll go ahead. So I'm just going to demonstrate to you how I'm going to iron. So you see this shiny part of your paper stay or your air stay or your lightest gum stay. I don't know if you can see it. It's shiny. It has this kind of sparkling effect. The other side is not shiny. This side is shiny here. I guess you can see. So you're going to put the shiny part on your fabric like this. The shiny part of your air stay or paper stay should be facing your fabric. Then you iron like so. So then you go ahead and fold in this place like this. I'm just demonstrating to you before I do the actual ironing. You get how you're going to go ahead and iron. So you're going to fold in half an inch like so and iron as well. So let me just use my office pin to hold it so you understand better how you go about it. So okay, before then, let me just use my office pin. So I've pinned it like this. After ironing it, it's going to gum to your fabric. But for now, I've not used iron. I'm just showing it to you. Then you bring your other part without the paper stay like so and iron. So I hope you understand what I'm demonstrating here. You bring your other part without the paper stay and you iron like so. Once I've done the real ironing, I'll come and show you guys so you can see the way it should come out. It should be like this. So Guys, this is it. I have ironed it, and you can see what I was talking about. So you can see it's already glued to the fabric, and you can see that I folded in half an inch. So next you're going to take your fabric like this and stitch on this side. So you're going to stitch. So if you want your collar pointy, you're going to stitch like this. You make it, you don't stitch, how do I put it? It should not be a straight stitch. You see the way I slanted it from the top to the down. If you want it pointy. But if you do not mind, no problem, just do a straight stitch. So you can see how mine came out pointy for the collar. So what you do next is you turn your collar over like this, and then you see this part. I made a mistake here. The part without the paper stay should be the one facing your fabric. So you're going to take your collar, yes, together, and then you see this point. You're going to place your collar like this, both parts of the collar together, and then you're going to sew like this. So it's like your collar is in between the 4-inch extra and your main fabric, that is your front pattern and your back pattern. You understand? Please just see the way I'm doing it, and you're going to sew like so. So I'll show you. So I've done for the other side. So you're going to do the same thing for the other side of your neckline as well. So you can see what I'm talking about. So I've sewn both sides. So the next thing is I'm going to close up this other side. So in doing that, I am just going to take this part of the collar and then sew it to the fabric. You understand now? You understand the fabric I'm talking about. So you can see I have joined it together. As you can see, I've joined it together. So you can see what I'm talking about. So I have joined that part together. So to close it, to do the final closing, you might create a notch at this point. You create a notch so it will be easy for you. You create a notch at this point. That's 4-inch point where it stops the so you then close it up like this. You fold in 1/2 inch and sew on it. Make sure the stitching is neat so it doesn't look rough at the back. So guys, I'm going to stitch it now and show you guys. So guys, you can see the way I stitched it. So I'm going to bring this out. You can see the notched collar has been created. Don't worry, this whole process might look tricky, but once you are sewing it, you see that there's no big fuss about it. It's very, very simple. Once you are sewing it, you see it's no biggie. It might look tricky while I'm teaching it, but it's going to look so simple while you're doing it. Don't worry about that. So next is you're going to close up the sides. So you can decide to use 1 inch or 1/2 inch to close up the sides, whichever. So I have closed up the sides. As you can see, the notched collar is giving. Like, man, we have achieved our notched collar. So next, you go ahead and put your sleeve. If you don't know how to cut your basic sleeve pattern, I'll drop a link on the description box where I explained how to cut your basic sleeve pattern. Yeah, so you go ahead and cut your sleeve and attach your sleeve. So I have attached my sleeve, and the video is already getting longer, so I just had to attach the button and the buttonhole. So for that, you can mark 3 inches down or 4 inches down. Then I left 3 inches in between each buttonhole. Yes, so in creating the buttonhole, there are 2 ways you can do that. I'll do a more detailed video for creating a buttonhole, but let me just explain it briefly if you would get it but I'll give you a more detailed video. So you just create a mark like so, and then the mark can either be 1/2 inch or 1 inch depending on how big your button is. Then you mark out a starting point and an ending point. Then you stitch on both sides of this line. You get your stitch should be very close to both sides of the line. So you can see this one, I used this method for creating this buttonhole. So for this other method, I used my thread. So I also created a line. My line was 1/2 inch because my button is small. Then you Okay, let me just explain better to you. So you thread your needle like this, then you see the buttonhole, you take your needle twitch like so. I'll give you a more detailed explanation on this whole button because this is on that topic on its own, you get. And this video is already getting longer than I actually wanted, so please do not forget to hit the subscribe button, like, so that other people who would want to learn how to make a notch collar can also get to see it. And also, if there's anything you do not understand, don't forget to drop a comment and I will get to reply or respond to you. So yes guys, this is it. And also don't forget to aim the down of your shirt. So guys, this is it. This is how the notched collar came out, and you can see how beautiful it is. Like, it is giving up. So this is it guys, this is it. So see you on my next video. Love you. Mwah.